A major accolade or achievement was being on the O list, which for those that don't know, Oprah's O list is like the best of the best.
Yeah.
In the country.
In the country, yeah.
And I think the competition to get on there is probably very intense.
I think from day one, I didn't want to pay retail, the price per square footage for retail. And so I had always set up, I started in my kitchen at home, but after that, I moved into a shared kitchen space in St. Louis. And I always knew I never wanted to make the ice cream in the shop. And then eventually I moved into a 4,000 square foot manufacturing facility.
You kind of alluded to this earlier, but when you were shipping ice cream to Oprah, you weren't set up for shipping ice cream across the country, and now you do. Mm-hmm. Can you kind of give us some background on how you came up with that idea? I think that's unique for an ice cream shop. I've never heard of it. And then what the logistics look like behind the scenes? On that concept or that topic of people, I feel like you have a great culture just from being a customer. Can you kind of expand on some things you do to build culture in your organization? And I'll give you one example of another reason why I think you have a great culture. So I was having coffee outside of your Town and Country location, like 8 a.m. on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And you guys weren't open. I doubt you're open that early. Someone that was inside the shop came out and gave me and the gentleman I was with a sample of your new fall flavors. So that minor thing to a consumer or customer means a lot. And I think you have to build a special team to even want to go above and beyond to do those little things. Mm-hmm. Can you speak to some of the culture building or things you do within your organization?
Yeah, I think we try to be pretty intentional about our culture and making sure that we're people first, right? Because we're very, and it's about the ice cream. It's about the ice cream, what it does for people, and providing that. We talk about it, our cone values, not core values, but cone values, right? And making those the center of what we do all day, every day, and really providing the organoleptic experience for guests, whether they know it or not. And we believe in the power of ice cream, and that ice cream is magic. And so any opportunity that we can get to give a guest a magical experience, just like you just talked about, that is what we do, right? Because that connects you to the ice cream, you to us, and you to that memory and moment that you're having with your friends sitting out there having coffee. Because even still to this day, you remember like, oh, we were just sitting out there having coffee and this thing happened, and you had a smile on your face the entire time you were telling me that, right? And so that's a great example of just those magic moments that ice cream provides. And we really build that and reinforce those notions and those ideas into our team, because ice cream is really interesting. People will come in by themselves for ice cream, and you don't have any idea why they're coming in. They could be coming in because they're happy. They could be coming in because they're sad. They could be coming in because they're missing someone. And so there is always an opportunity to make the power of ice cream shine for anyone. And so we just kind of really drill that into our shop, everybody in the shop in their head, that like, we are responsible to make sure that this wonderful ice cream experience is so great for them that they want to come back for more.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. I've never thought this deeply about ice cream before, but I can tell you have many times, and it shows again with the product. And for anyone listening, it probably sounds like you're paying me to say this, but I absolutely love your ice cream. I have to purposefully stay away from Clementines because I can't eat it just every day.
Sure.
Although
sure.
I'd love to. So in terms of the culture, again, with ice cream, it's probably a little easier to get people excited about it versus, let's say, a B2B business. And then also with the Accolades, I'm sure that helps bring in the talent, retain the talent, get people excited. A major accolade or achievement was being on the O list, which for those that don't know, Oprah's O list is like the best of the best.
Yeah.
In the country.
In the country, yeah.
And I think the competition to get on there is probably very intense. How were you able to position yourself to be on the O list?
I sent them ice cream for 2 years every month. Like when I had no money to be doing that, like I just did, only later to find out that they receive thousands of packages every month.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, they opened the ice cream and somebody fell in love with it and they thought it was amazing and they called and asked for more, right? So, but it was 2 years of sending ice cream, which is very expensive at that time because we didn't ship a lot of ice cream then. Just being persistent, like, hey, take a look. It's hard. We live in Missouri. We're in a flyover state. No, it's not like we were from LA or Chicago or New York where you have big city and big eyes and lots of money and investors and celebs and right, who can walk into your shop and then tweet about it and then the world knows about you, right? We're in St. Louis. And so we've had to work really, really hard to get the attention that we get to say, hey, look, we're in the Midwest, but we do something better than anybody else in the country. So stand up, pay attention, look, try it, eat it. If you do, I promise you won't, regret it. And so we've worked really hard to get a lot of the national accolades. And now they come easier, right? Because everyone knows who we are in the culinary world anyway. And, we've started making, and ice cream connoisseurs, like if they're worth their weight in salt, like they all know who Clementine's is and they order from us. So, I mean, it doesn't help. We've been, like Andy Cohen's been such a big supporter of us. We've been on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. We've been featured on CBS This Morning. And so, like, we work hard to make sure that we're getting out there and people are finding out our story and trying our ice cream.
You recently also were 10th best, ranked 10th best ice cream or something along those lines in the country. Is that right?
Actually, we just got the number one ice cream flavor in the country.
Number one.
Number one.
There you go. I probably mixed it up with one of your many other achievements.
Yes.
So number one, was that ooey gooey butter cake or another flavor?
So that was a couple years ago. No, this year we went to the North American Ice Cream Association conference, and it is between 600 and 800 of the top ice cream and gelato makers in the country. It's our big industry conference. And you enter your ice cream, and all of those ice cream and gelato makers do blind taste tests and they vote. And our Italian Smoky Fig got number one in the country this year. So that was pretty amazing. We won that award back in 2019 as well for gooey butter cake, actually then. But it's pretty unheard of that Clementine, at any company won the best ever in the history of the association. So that's really cool.
Congratulations on that. So
Thank you.
Typically during a show, I'm making notes on topics I want to come back to.
Yeah.
But I just made a note to try the Italian Smoky Fig.
It's so
totally
good.
Unrelated to the show, and I circled it as well so I don't forget.
That's all right. Well, since we won, it had so much media around the country that it was a fall that we had introduced earlier. And so we brought it back, and so now it's in all the shops.
Awesome.
Really good. Yeah.
That's good to know. You kind of alluded to this earlier, but when you were shipping ice cream to Oprah, you weren't set up for shipping ice cream across the country, and now you do. Mm-hmm. Can you kind of give us some background on how you came up with that idea? I think that's unique for an ice cream shop. I've never heard of it. And then what the logistics look like behind the scenes?
Sure. It's a tough business. I mean, it's frozen cold storage logistics via e-commerce. And so you've got to buy a whole lot of dry ice, and you have to figure out how to ship it safely with the proper notifications and everything, because dry ice is a hazardous material. So we figured that out a couple of years ago because people wanted to ship our ice creams everywhere. And so once we figured out how to do it, it was kind of the chicken and the egg, because you don't get a better shipping rates until you start shipping more packages. But you can't ship more packages till you get better shipping rates. And so thankfully, knock on wood, we had a lot of awesome customers around the country who were willing to pay a small fortune for shipping in the early days to get our volume up to where now we can ship anywhere, and it's pretty reasonable to ship the ice cream. But it's definitely it's a different and unique and expensive business model, because you have to invest in the safety systems and PP&E and notifications and communications and packaging and the ice cream, of course.
And are you doing that all with your internal team in terms of
Yes.
the packaging?
Mm-hmm.
At your production facility?
Yep.
Can you give me some background on how the production facility came about, like just the idea of one and then maybe the actual development or acquisition?
Sure. I think from day one, I didn't want to pay retail the price per square footage for retail. And so I had always set up, I mean, I started in my kitchen at home, but after that, I moved into a shared kitchen space in St. Louis. And I always knew I never wanted to make the ice cream in the shop, right? And so I've always had a commissary of sorts. You know, I started out in my kitchen, then I went to a small shared kitchen, and then eventually I moved into a 4,000 square foot manufacturing facility that I was in at for quite a few years. And then just as we started growing and just busting at the seams and not having enough freezer space to build inventory going into the next summer, I said, well, we've got to expand. And if we're going to expand, let's build capacity and let's set ourselves up for like some really serious growth. And I think over the years, as we kept growing and expanding and moving to a bigger commissary and a bigger commissary and bigger commissary, we said, okay, we have something special and the world needs Clementine. So let's build it and then we can go open more stores. And so we just built a 25,000 square foot manufacturing facility in North City. So
And did you choose North City on purpose? Like, is that where you want it to be?
We did. You know, St. Louis is such an amazing city, but we have work to do as well. But I was super intentional about moving into North City because our city will never change until business owners or people like us who have the ability to invest our dollars and put our money where our mouth is makes the choices to invest in parts of the city that need help. And so we went to North City because I wanted to help be part of the change that we want to see in the city. And it's worked out really, really well.
I agree with you there. I think the onus is on entrepreneurs and business people to, like you said, be the change that we want to see. So kudos to you for putting your production facility in North City. Hopefully it's one of many more to come.